And the Faith Evans Soon As I Get Home was better than the Babyface Soon As I Get
Okay, let's say
Home.
this. From a male perspective, of course it is, because it's a female singing a song.
It don't even matter. There's a lot of
It
male
does
R&B
matter.
singers. No, there's a lot of male R&B singers
What
that I
the
would
man is okay,
that I like.
understand how it's hitting the ear. What the man is saying is he gonna buy your clothes, he gonna pay your rent. That's
If
two.
that.
He gonna buy your
But
clothes,
she's
pay your
saying,
rent.
soon as I get home, I'll make it up to you, baby. I'll do what I gotta
Right.
do.
See, she
You
was
should
messing
want to
up.
please your man.
No, no, no.
Exactly.
She was messing up. Babyface ain't do anything wrong. Babyface is coming in the game like, look,
Nah, he
this
did
is what
something
I'm
wrong.
going. Nah,
He did something wrong.
not
Ain't nobody
Babyface.
paying your rent when they do something wrong.
Not necessarily.
Paying your rent is the doing something wrong anyway.
No, it's not. Listen. We deserve to be treated like
You ain't
queens out
deserve
here,
rent.
okay?
Did you
Because
treat him
some
like a
of us
king?
do.
Did you pay his rent?
Some of us do.
Did you pay his rent?
Men are providers. Females are not.
Nah. Don't try that BS. Nah. If you want to talk about deserve to be treated like a queen, okay, well then treat him like a king. If
I
you a
will.
queen, then that means he's a king. So
Okay,
if
I
he's
will
paying your
too.
rent, you should be all right. If you already accepting somebody paying your rent, you should be accepting. You should be able to accept paying somebody else's rent.
He not gonna take my rent payment. You know why? He's
Yeah,
a man.
that's
That's why.
BS.
He wouldn't allow me as a
That's the
woman to
most
pay
light
anything
skinned,
for him.
big forehead thing you'd have never said in your entire life.
You gonna stop with all this colorism on my show? That's
No, I'm
what you're
not.
not gonna do.
Nope. Everybody get it. I'm an equal opportunity ism. Racism,
I'm not.
classism,
I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell them what you
colorism.
said 10 minutes ago about my hairline.
That's
Just let
fine.
it go.
That's fine. That's fine. I make fun of everybody, including myself, equally, so nobody can get mad. You
Well,
mad? Then get a little Kleenex and wipe your tears, because I'm making fun of
jump,
everybody.
jump on yourself then, because you've been jumping on me for like 20 minutes.
I'll jump on
Talk
myself.
about
What's
my
up?
hairline. Talk about
How many times I call myself fat on here? What's up?
not enough this week.
With my little struggle beard. What's up? I'll talk about myself.
You need that beard oil that Blur's was talking about. You need the beard oil.
You need to get rid of that widow's peak. What you need to
No, I would never get rid of my widow's peak.
do.
I've had it my whole life. I'm going to. It's been 32 years. You can't shave it off. If you shave it, it's just gonna grow back.
Well, yeah, it's all hair, man.
No, but some people will just continuously keep. I'm not doing that. It's gonna mess my hairline up. It would look stupid. I would look dumb without this widow's peak. My forehead is already 40 meters long. You think I'm gonna make it?
Oh, but when I say it is a problem, okay.
Yeah, because I
All
can
right.
talk about my own forehead. I got eyes. I can see.
Yeah. Notice you took that hat off.
Yeah, I
You
did.
gotta let that forehead breathe.
Hey, listen, that thing was a prison.
It came up for some air.
You can see the print on my forehead. I was getting a headache, low key.
That joint wanted some stardom, wanted some shine, like the fly on Mike Pence's head.
Watch the fly just laying right on my widow's feet. You
Mm-mm.
just see him sitting there like this, just rubbing his hands together.
That's because the front door of your apartment lead right outside. You ain't got no buffer, so
The bus come in, nice place, nigga. Like what? How did you get in here?
this is my place now, punk.
The bus come in like Rick James did. Nice place,
Oh,
nigga.
speaking of Rick James. Oh, yo, that's a good segue. Everybody, welcome to the Good and Terrible Show. Excuse our banter.
Yeah, we've been rambling a lot. We're getting old. Like we're just rambling and shit. But
Yeah, we just
it's
talk.
cool though.
This is literally the show of Mickey and me talking. So if you don't appreciate it by now, you need to start appreciating it because we ain't going nowhere.
Get used to it.
Oh man. But yes, welcome back to another episode of the Good and Terrible Show. Today we have a very interesting topic for y'all. We got a meme that was sent by my favorite yellow co-host here, so I'll let her explain what the meme was, and then we will get into the discussion.
Yes. I'm gonna pull it up so y'all can see it. So this meme was very, very well, I don't know if we call it a meme or I don't know. Because I think memes are funny. It was more like a debate. So the question is, who would you pick? So we got the Kings of Comedy, Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, the late great Bernie Mac, D.L. Hughley, versus Tracy Morgan, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, and Chris Rock.
Mm,
That's a tough little lineup. I
mm.
don't know. Hold up, Paul. Stepdaddy's. I'm trying to read the names in my right eyes. Like, does that say stepdaddy seasons? What is the matter with you, sir? You guys, this man. If you guys are watching the episodes back to back, like we hope you are, you will see his last Zoom name, and then you'll see this one. And I want you to know that he is like this all the time.
I was about to say that if you think that I'm not this Travis outside of the show,
He
I'm
is like
always
this at work. He is like this at his mama's house. He's like this on vacation.
oh, definitely on vacation.
He is a 24/7 clown all the time. And
Hey, listen, I'm just saying, it's
takes
stepdad
some
season
getting
out
used
here.
to.
You know.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, hey.
Hey, you heard what your mama said?
You heard what your mama said. I ain't gonna tell you again.
I can see you drinking up some kids Capri Suns the night before. And
Hell yeah. That is literally the reason I would want to be a stepdad. What you mean? You get some, listen, hey, nothing more refreshing in my mind. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm just thinking of it in my head. There's nothing more refreshing in my ideal mind that would be better than drinking a Capri Sun right after you just had some coochie. Like that is like, think about it. A great Thursday night capped off with just some, I don't know, Sunny D in the fridge. Like, come on. With some orange slices, you know, mothers be keeping little baggies of orange slices.
No, you have the what's the little nectarines called?
The little what are they called?
The cuties.
Cuties.
Yeah.
Bruh, come on, son.
Yo.
Imagine
Junior,
you just put it down.
Junior
Imagine you just put it down.
Wake up. Junior gonna be
Bruh,
like, I know this nigga didn't drink my Capri Suns and my Sunny D and eat my
listen,
damn sweet cuties.
I'm the nigga that would turn on Paw Patrol or the Wiggles or something to distract the kid while I lay down with
The
their
Wiggles
mama.
ain't on no more.
Listen, reruns, nigga, whatever, some kid show. I don't even know what's on now.
You had it with
The
Paw Patrol.
Backyardigans. I don't know.
Backyardigans ain't. It's no new episodes.
Listen,
yeah.
I would just turn it to Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or one of them shows, Disney Channel, and let the little kid watch. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Let me distract him while I make your mama a personal friend. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow.
And then after we're done, when the kids go to sleep, I'm stealing the Dunkaroos. So what's up? Stepdad season MVP. Yes, the hell they do. They brought them back, bro.
When?
They brought them back. They in stores, dog. I seen them.
At Walmart?
Yeah, I seen them at Walmart.
Say word. Bring me some. I want some.
Nah, because you wanted to clown.
Nah, I thought you was.
Nah.
Too late. You missed the boat.
Just because you're the same color as the Dunkaroo crackers does not mean that you get to be sharing some of my snacks.
See how you always going on me? This is why the black community can't come together. This is
we
why
together.
Colorism. No, this is why colorism is alive and well. Because I'm sitting over here. Okay, I'm melanin deficient. I'm stuck in the house.
Melanin deficient.
It's not my fault that I'm this complexion. Blame my mother and my daddy and my granddaddy and grandma.
Yeah, because your whole family darker than you.
Yes.
You just shine bright like a diamond.
No, it's a couple of us lighter than me.
Every time you have a family reunion, be like, "Oh, there's Mickey." You'd be like, "Where's Waldo?" Just stand out.
You just see forehead and light skin. He's like, "Oh, there she is." There's the forehead.
Like Carlos Miller said, "I know she got a good woman. I can tell by the forehead."
Yo, let's get to this damn topic.
It keep you humble. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I grew into my forehead in my early 20s, so I'm.
Did you?
Yeah, it took a good 20 years because when I was like 4 or 5, my kid pictures it was like 88% forehead, bro.
You was over there looking like Pinky in the Brain.
Man, listen, I had a lot on my mind, but moving forward, moving back.
You got big dreams.
Moving back to the topic.
Yes, let's get back on our topic. Sorry, y'all. We went on a tangent.
I've been drinking wine for the last 3 hours, guys. It's fine.
And I'm completely sober. Surprise me.
And he still acts like this. So the thing about this debate between the Kings of Comedy versus, if we had to pick one, Tracy Morgan, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, and Chris Rock, The question is, are we talking about stand up or are we talking about movies? Because those are two different realms. So I don't know how you want to run it because they
I
didn't
mean,
really
we can talk
specify.
about all encompassing for real. So yeah, so just to make sure we're reiterating for clarification, everybody at home, you basically got to choose one group. Okay, would you choose Team A or would you choose Team B? The Team A is DL Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, and Steve Harvey. Team B is Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, and Tracy Morgan. Right.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So if you only had to pick one, you could only listen to one of those groups, watch their comedy, watch their movies for the rest of your life. One of those groups got to go. Okay, who's staying and who's going? That's basically the question. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through process of elimination, or we're gonna go through our personal justification as to why we chose who we chose. But we want it to be interactive, so you guys make sure to comment below which team you choose and why. And who do you think is the MVP of each group too? That's another question I want to put on to you.
Ooh, nice little
Yeah.
spin.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
yeah. We doing
Yeah,
something out here. See, that's why I'm the MVP.
yeah.
Stepdad season.
I think okay, so I think okay, should I pick the MVP first, I think, out of each group? Or how do you want to do
No, I want you to tell me I want you to tell me which group you chose, and then I
it?
want you to give your justification, and then work the MVP into that.
Okay. And it's hard to say this because I've been sitting on this topic since I sent it to you, and I was like, damn, this is a hard choice because we've seen the Kings of Comedy in a special all together. You know, a lot of people got to see them on tour, which I wish I was old enough at the time to go to this tour because it looked awesome. Like the show looked great.
It
Um,
did.
so we've seen the Kings of Comedy all together, but we haven't seen Tracy Morgan, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, and Chris Rock do a special or go on tour together.
Hmm.
But in my heart of hearts, if I had to choose, I'm going to choose Team B. I'm choosing Tracy Morgan, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, and Chris Rock. If I had to choose, and I'm choosing based on stand up and movies. I don't know if that's how you're gonna. Both categories for me, I would go in that direction.
Both categories?
Both categories,
Whew.
because you got
It's a
heavy
lot of
hitters.
heavy. There's a lot of heavy weight in that statement that you just said. I feel like that's going to be one of them black blasphemous type statements.
Hey, listen, I'm ready for the
You
fight.
might get some people coming for you for that one. For me, this was a really tough question for me personally. I'll tell you why in a second. But I'm gonna go with Team A,
Mm,
and the main reason why I went with Team A is consistency of the whole roster, if that makes sense. So there's less weak links to me in Group A than Group B. Now,
mm,
now to answer the MVP question, if I did choose Group B, it's because my favorite comedian of all time is none other than the great Dave Chappelle. So it was really hard for me to part ways with Dave Chappelle in
you don't
Group
love
B.
him for real.
Oh, I love him. I have every episode of Chappelle Show on DVD in my room. I have both his stand-ups from the early 2000s for what it's worth,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Killing Me Softly. I've seen all his Netflix stand-ups as well. I mean, anything that Dave Chappelle been in, I've probably seen, and I'm a fan of. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a comedic genius. I think he's maybe the best to do it since Richard Pryor. With all due respect, I'll give Richard Pryor's kind of like the Babe Ruth of comedy. You know what I'm saying? But for my mind, for what it's worth, pound for pound, I'm giving Dave Chappelle my personal GOAT title.
Mm,
Um, I think he's the best of anybody on that board. However, when you talk about the strength of the entire group,
mm-hmm.
I got to go with Team A.
Mm,
And I say that because with Team B, while you have Dave and then also you have Eddie, you then have Chris and Tracy. And I feel like Tracy is really funny when he does cameos on TV shows or in movies or different things like that. But there's no golden piece of work that I can point to that I'd be like, this is like Tracy Morgan's shining star. You know what I'm saying?
Martin, I would
Um,
say, if
yeah,
you
he was.
got
That's what
that
I'm saying. He was great as Hustle Man. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But it's not. That's a cameo on somebody else's
But
show.
it was
You know what
memorable.
I'm
You
saying?
gotta
It
give
was
him his
memorable,
credit.
but he also only had a handful of those appearances. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Yeah,
like he was an everyday character.
he
It was like he
wasn't. But
came
when he
on
popped up,
a
he
couple
popped
times a
up.
season. Oh yeah, he was hilarious when he brought like the little mini pizza in the
Hmm.
box. You know what I'm saying? Or when he was
When he was
planning
the
a
wedding
wedding.
planner.
You
Yep.
know, when he stole the tires of Martin and Gina's car. You know,
Uh
that's
huh.
funny. And of course, pick up the pieces. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I was about to say you can't
And
forget.
then, but even more than I still Tracy Morgan isn't my biggest complaint about the group because I actually
Oh,
really do like Tracy Morgan. My biggest complaint about the group is Chris Rock.
ooh,
No shade to Chris Rock,
ooh.
but I personally have never been a huge Chris Rock fan. And I
Stand
feel
up or
like
movies?
for both, even actually, because actually, you know what?
Wow.
I feel like he's been better on movies than some of his stand-ups because Chris Rock to me is kind of like the oh man, in a way, not completely saying he's the exact same type of comedian, but in a way, he's kind of like the Kevin Hart before Kevin Hart, where he's either
Mm,
like really, really funny in one moment, or he's absolutely not funny at all in the next moment.
like an extreme
I feel
to
like
another
yeah,
extreme to
there's
you.
not a whole lot of middle ground for Chris Rock. There's not a whole lot of times where I've watched Chris Rock stand ups where I'm weak laughing, right?
Mm,
Like you'll get chuckles, you know what I'm saying? And occasionally it'll be, pretty funny, but I'm rarely weak laughing at Chris Rock. Tracy Morgan, I feel like is just naturally funny being himself. That the last OG show has been
mm-hmm.
funny. You know what I'm saying? The Hustle Man features,
The
his
other show he was on
stuff on
with
30 Rock.
Tina
You know what I'm
Fey.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never watched it, but I know. Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of, I mean, he's funny, and naturally when he's being himself, I think he's actually hilarious. Chris Rock to me, eh. Now I think I
Even though
love my
everybody hates
wife.
Chris.
Everybody Hates Chris was a funny show, but was it
Yeah.
funny because of Chris? I don't think so.
I mean, it's his life. It's he's telling his story. He just has people, of
Yeah,
course,
it's
acting
telling
him
the
out.
story, but I feel like when I think of Everybody Hates Chris,
Hmm.
the two people that jump out to me is Terry Crews and Tashina Arnold. They were hilarious. I think they made that show funny to me.
Hmm.
You know,
And
you
the
have
and the I can't think of his name. The young man that played Chris Rock. I can't remember his real name to save my life.
I wasn't that impressed with him.
What?
No,
He's funny. He's a
he
kid.
was
I mean, he was
okay.
a kid, but
I
he's
mean, if you got low standards of comedy, just say that. I mean, I'm just,
wow.
but
This
but
boy was like 10 years old doing this show. Don't do that.
yeah, and he was cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a complaint about him, but he was cool. He was just not memorable. His kid's character is not that memorable. Sheena Arnold and Terry Crews were
Yeah,
hilarious on that show.
I have to say, yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh!
definitely.
Like when I think everybody has had a Terry Crews moment now. Like when you go start budgeting, like oh man, I just ate $13 worth of food. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Once you move out, you turn into Terry Crews. If you still live with your
absolutely,
parents, and not to say if you live with your parents, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you live with your parents rent free, bill free, you can just live and exist and not have to put any money down.
absolutely.
You're pre Terry Crews. Once you move out and everything has to be paid by you, you are 120%. You're Terry Crews mixed with a little bit of Jason Pitts, all in one person.
Right.
Like cheap
And of
as hell.
course, and of course, Eddie Murphy is a monster at comedy, right?
Oh
Everybody knows
yeah.
that. Delirious, Raw, all that stuff. And Dave Chappelle is an even bigger monster to me. Both of them are just great. They're icons. You know what I'm saying? You get the highs of the highs with Group B, but then also
Hmm.
some of the lows of the low for me. So when I'm just talking about from a sheer consistent standpoint, I got to go with Group A because Bernie Mac, fire, right?
Hmm.
Cedric the Entertainer, who's actually probably my personal favorite out of that group, who
What?
I feel like might be the most underrated comedian of all time. Like I feel like nobody really be giving Cedric the Entertainer
They
his
don't.
just due props. Cedric is hilarious. He's
He is.
original. He's talented. He comes up with all kinds of witty comments that people just don't think about. Like he's hilarious.
Observations. He
You
has
know
a
what I'm
lot of
saying?
observations.
I love Bernie Mac. He's straight fired. Nothing bad to say about him. I love
Mm-hmm.
Cedric Entertainer. Straight fired. Nothing to say about him. Nothing bad to say about him. Um, Steve Harvey, who I feel like he's now a different Steve Harvey than he was, right? I mean, he's the more
Yeah, he's evolved.
he's the Family Feud host, and he's got the TV talk show and different things like that. But 90s Steve Harvey was hilarious. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? There wasn't that many moments, and even in the Steve Harvey show, I feel like a lot of times Cedric was funnier than Steve, but Steve still held his own, obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
not
Go
to
ahead.
cut you off, I definitely agree because it's moments that I remember some of Cedric's lines, and I'm like, damn, what did Steve do when he did X, Y, and Z? So Cedric was definitely like as a not a co-host, but what's the word? Like co-star. Like he
Hmm.
was, he was holding his own. And I don't know, I was gonna say about Cedric. Do you remember Cedric the Entertainer show on Fox? It was like a skit show, kind of like
Yeah, it
how
was short lived
it
though.
was hilarious. Remember the lunch lady? Ain't no more green beans.
I don't remember the lunch lady because I did watch the show, but the show
Uh-huh.
only lasted like a year or something like
Yeah,
that.
it
Like
was
it
short.
was,
It only had like maybe I don't even think it was more like 2 or 3 seasons, but he played a lunch lady and he had on a wig, he had the hairnet, the little, lunch lady apron, and it was the line was ain't no more green beans. It's
yeah.
mashed potatoes and corn. He was always mean to all the kids and they were like, but I want some of this. He was like, no.
Hmm.
But he definitely was good.
And Cedric is a stand up monster. Like he's absolutely a stand up monster. I've heard talks about other comedians that had to like follow Cedric the Entertainer in like comedy clubs and stuff like that who just did not want to go on stage. Like, how do I follow Ced? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? He actually came up with a standout. I mean, he came up with a stand up within the last 5 years. I don't remember what it is. I think it was like grown folks or something. I don't remember what it was.
I know
It
what
might
you're
have been
talking about. I
grown
can remember the
grown
name.
man. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
But that was hilarious. It was even still like recently he can put out some fire. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So between those three guys, it's pretty consistent heat. Then you kind of get to DL where it's like you know
Watch your mouth. You know how I feel about DL.
right, but you also thought the kid was the funniest character and Everybody Hates Chris.
I didn't say he was the funniest. I said get a boy his props. Okay, that's what I said.
Yeah, whatever. But DL was don't get me wrong on like Comic View. DL was
Hosted,
was pretty
yeah.
funny. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of funny moments. He was one of the original comedians that would bring the crowd in to roast them. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Um, which is great. You know what I'm saying? But
But you have
his
he has
his
later
TV
stand
show,
ups as well too. Like he has stand ups in the last 5 years that he's done that were hilarious. That I actually enjoyed
I thought they was
more.
okay. They was
I
okay.
enjoy his latest stands up, his most present stand ups more than I did with him on Kings of Comedy. Kings of Comedy was like it was good, but his more
Yeah.
present ones I was like, this is
He was clearly
this
the
is
weak
hitting.
link in the Kings of Comedy tour. Like if you had to pick a weak link, he was clearly that.
I
His
don't
TV
like him
show
being
also
weekly.
I thought was way overrated. I was not a big fan of the Hughleys. I did not think the Hughleys was that funny, even though they brought the dude that played Overton Wakefield Jones from Living Single onto the Hughleys, and even
Mm-hmm.
he couldn't save that show. And he's
Wow.
funny. I really like that guy. I don't remember his
Mm-mm.
name, but as
I
an
remember
actor, I
his
always
name.
thought he was funny.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I mean, and the most recent stuff that he's come out with, he's cool. I noticed he's changed focus a lot. He's a lot more now political and different things like that. So he's bringing a different spin to his comedy, a lot more in thought and intellectual, and that's cool. And it's okay. Yeah, I like it. I have nothing negative to say about it, but it's just okay. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, I'm taking a group where I have just one weak link versus a group
Mm-hmm.
where I'm thinking about potentially two.
Yeah.
So
True. I can see that. The reason why I said Group B, most importantly, like you said, I think you were about to mention. I think I Love My Wife, which is one of my probably. I always have a top movie list, but I don't rank it. Like everybody knows what my favorite movie is life. But I think I Love My Wife. I actually rewatched it the other day. It was on TV, and I just how something's on. And it's like halfway through, you're like, I'm gonna just finish watching it. And I was like, yo, this movie was so. It was a great movie. It was a great conversation piece, a great lesson. But I felt like everybody could relate to it.
yeah,
Of course, you got New Jack City. where Chris Rock was Pookie. You got oh damn, he was in Boomerang. Even though his parts weren't necessarily all throughout the
Yeah, I
movie.
forgot it was in Boomerang.
Yes, Boomerang is my favorite romantic comedy. Okay, so
Is that even a romantic comedy? Is that
it is.
considered a romantic comedy?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
funny and it's romantic.
Okay.
If it's not, it is now.
Hey,
But
I never
like you
put it in
said,
that genre. I never thought of Boomerang as a rom com.
I do only because, of course, it's Eddie Murphy's in it, so of course it's going to be funny. But you have serious parts and then you have parts that are like, okay, this is like really like certain situations in it. But I think Chris Rock has a lot of um memorable moments on TV. Of course, like you said, his stand-ups. I would agree with you on the stand-ups. I remember Bigger and Blacker, but I can't remember like one specific joke that like I can repeat right now. So
The
I
funniest joke from Chris Rock to me that I've ever heard, or not even just one ideal joke, but like a joke segment, was when he was talking about things black people can do to not get beat up by the police. And I don't even think that was from his
oh,
stand up. I think it was just like a video he did, like a skit on. It was either on TV or like
I don't
on
remember. I
YouTube or
remember,
something
but
like
I don't
that.
remember what it was.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was funny. You know, that's probably the most memorable thing I can think of when it comes to Chris Rock outside of I Think I Love My Wife, which is actually, I like you said, I think a really underrated movie. I don't think it got
Mm-hmm.
enough shine because
It
that movie
didn't.
actually is really funny. I have that on DVD as well,
It's
and I like
hilarious.
Chris Rock. Don't get me wrong. It's just like I'm not a big Chris Rock
But
fan.
if
I
you had to
don't.
pick a stand up, like if somebody said, "What stand up do you want to watch right now?" Your mind wouldn't. Chris Rock wouldn't come in that
Oh
conversation
no,
mentally. Yeah.
Chris Rock wouldn't even be like in my top 10.
Not to say he's not good. It's just your personal preference would be like,
Yeah, comedy's subjective, right?
oh, definitely, it's supposed to be. Like that's why I feel like comedians should have the right to say what they want because there's a comedian for everybody, and some people are funny to some people. Some people don't think Dave Chappelle's funny, and I don't understand those
You know
people.
what? There's rare people I've seen. I haven't met too many because most of the people have come to the consensus that like, yo, Dave is hilarious. But every
Hilarious.
now and then I'll run into a weirdo who I'm
Yeah,
just like,
somebody you
who's
wouldn't
like,
trust around your kids. Like who would
yeah.
say who would
Listen, if
say
you don't
such a
find
thing?
Dave Chappelle funny, I don't know if you should ever hold a position of leadership of any type of any setting. Like, I don't think you
Don't
should be a manager, a councilman.
don't procreate because I don't want your children thinking this garbage that you have. I don't want them to to learn this crap.
The children don't need that negativity in their life.
They
Like,
don't. It's
I don't even think your kid should be a line leader if you don't think Dave Chappelle is funny. Like in elementary school, he needs to be somewhere, not even the back of the line, because that's special too. You need somewhere in like the middle.
yeah,
Just
like two kids from the last one.
yeah.
Yeah, I think uh I think Chris Rock definitely for me more so movies and stand up. Eddie Murphy, of course. Like I remember I always get Delirious and Raw mixed up. Raw is the red leather suit. Or is that Delirious? No,
Oh shit.
Delirious is a red leather suit. Delirious is red leather suit. And then
Like purple or something like that,
Raw was like
or blue, or
it was like an electric blue. It was very bright. It could have been
yeah.
purple. Yeah. But I remember watching Delirious and I wasn't supposed to be watching it. My uncle was watching it. And this is pre-internet days. This was like everything was on VCR or tape. There was no DVDs. How the grown-ups would be in one room and the kids had their own room or they'd be in the
Hmm.
basement. And I heard my uncle watching it and I was, how you like, ooh, like listen to it. And I heard Eddie Murphy cursing and the one joke I remember was about Aunt Bunny and Gus and they used to call Aunt Bunny Goonie Goo Goo and
Hmm.
and I remember I couldn't have been older than like 10, 11 years old and it was cracking me up and I remembered that and then of course as I got older I was able to watch the whole thing but Eddie Murphy I can't think of anything that he's touched that I'm not like man he's like even now, like with Dolomite, I was telling somebody like
That was
Dolomite.
good actually.
Dolomite was a great movie. It was done well. The costumes were great. The cast selection was great. His acting, of course, was on point. But I learned a lot in that movie. But also too was a lot of good little nuggets. I feel like for somebody that's trying to do something that wants to give up, they're like, no, like like keep going. course, Dave Chappelle with the Chappelle Show, probably one of my favorite shows ever.
Oh, easily
Because
in
the
my top
Chappelle,
five.
oh yeah, like Martin is my favorite show ever, as we all know. But Dave Chappelle will probably be like two, if not three. So I think that um
I put Chappelle Show higher than Martin for me personally, but I'm just saying.
of course you would. But think I think that like you said, even cameos, because you know Dave Chappelle was in Blue Street. Dave Chappelle he had Half Baked. He had a lot of movies that he just kind of like popped up in.
Half
But
Baked was not a cameo. He was the
no,
lead
it
actor.
wasn't. I didn't say Half Baked. You didn't listen. I didn't say Half Baked was a cameo. I said he did a cameo in Blue Streak. He was in it, but he was in like 50% of the movie. But I think over the time span of when he started to now, like he's just like to me, he's like Eddie Murphy status. Like he's one of the greatest of all time in
Oh,
comedy.
easily, easily.
So
I mean, I mean, not Dave. Eddie came with the heat. I mean, the segment where he was talking about like the hamburgers that they got at home, or when he was talking about
I want McDonald's.
or the segment
I
when
can
he
make
was
a better hamburger than McDonald's.
right, or when he was like making fun of Bill Cosby. Because remember, like in one of the stand-up, I can't remember which one, but he was talking about how like Bill Cosby called him up and told him that he didn't have to cuss so much and stand up, and then he did like the
Yes.
impression of Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor, and was making fun of Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. It was like when he did like the impression of Richard Pryor, like you need to have a coat and a smile or something like that. But it was hilarious,
He
and
sounded just like both of them.
he was impression was
Impression.
great.
Yeah.
And or like when he was talking about like the African wife or the African what was it? We wanted the girl
It
like
was
straight out of
It
Africa.
was Miss Fufu or Miss
Yeah.
yeah. He's like,
Oh,
I
straight
want
heat.
half, Eddie. I want half. It's
Coming
like,
to America.
uh-huh.
Come
Oh
on.
man.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Just
the Nutty Professor. You know what I'm saying? He
my
just
favorite movie, Life. Like,
a life, yeah, his life. He was,
yeah.
you know, he just came with like banger, banger, banger.
Just
I wasn't a big Beverly Hills Cops fan, but a lot of people see that movie as iconic too. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Because he was the first, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was the first that was like the first black male co-star I think like ever, like you know, like in an action film. I think he was the first black like action co-star, I believe,
I don't think so.
because Lethal, huh?
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Who would be before that
Bill Cosby
in an action movie?
wasn't he like the co-star in I Spy? He was because he was the first. He was the first time that um, a black man was held a gun on like on the big screen or something like that. He was like the first time. This was in like the '60s.
Yeah,
Go
but
look that one up. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty
I
sure
don't,
it was Bill Cosby.
I don't know. I heard it was Eddie Murphy. I'm gonna give it to Eddie because Bill is not he on the shit list. So I'm gonna give it to Eddie anyway. But Tracy Morgan, like you said, the stand up. I've seen his stand ups before. I think he's naturally funny. He definitely has physical comedy. He's his demeanor, the way he thinks, the way he moves. Like he's a person he could just walk in the room and you just like crack up laugh. Because it's just him. But I definitely chose Group B because you got the two heavy hitters. You got Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle. And I feel like, to me, they're going to take it home. Regardless of what Chris Rock and Tracy Morgan do, Dave and Eddie are going. They're gonna be that closer. They're gonna take on the Never Never Land.
So if you had like a matchup, right?
Uh-huh.
So you got, let's say Bernie Mac.
Mm-hmm.
You think you gonna put Bernie up against Eddie or up against David?
Ooh, that's tough. Are we speaking presently, like as they are right now with all their stand-ups? Or are we speaking like
No, we're talking about like just like body work. Like if you had to put, if you think about this as team, we're talking about teams, right? Team A
right,
versus Team B, and
right?
when a team's playing a team, you gotta have a matchup, right? So like
Touche.
if the Bulls are playing the Jazz in the '98 finals, this guy's got to match up with this guy. Okay, who's matching up with Jordan? Who we gonna put on Jordan? You know what I'm
I
saying?
would, I would put, I probably would put Bernie versus Dave because Dave is very smart, but also I don't know how Dave Chappelle does it. It's like it's like watching somebody just like create something. It's like, how does he do this? Because he'll start here and then he'll end up back there. And you're like, how the heck? It's just
Yeah.
the way he puts things together. I would say Dave, and I would be
Okay.
confident because Bernie's gonna be hard to go up against, but I think Dave could do it.
Right. So we're talking about matchups here. So if you
Yeah.
put Bernie up against Dave, that means you got to have Ced going up against Eddie, right? So let's say hypothetically, Eddie wins against Cedric, right?
Okay.
Then you got Steve Harvey, right, who's going up
Mhm.
against your number 3 option. So who would you say is your number 3 between Tracy or Chris?
I would probably put Tracy up against Steve Harvey.
Okay, so let's say
Yeah.
you have Steve Harvey against Tracy. Steve probably wins that battle. Okay, then you have DL going up against Chris, right?
Mhm.
That's probably the most even matchup I can think of out of the whole thing. So
Chris. Yeah.
let's say hypothetically Eddie beats Cedric, so there's 1 point for Group B, but then Steve beats Tracy, so you got 1 point for Group A. Now
Mhm.
the premier marquee, Bernie versus Dave is going to be real
Mhm.
subjective, right? Because I love absolutely both of them, and me personally, I'm going to give the slight edge to Dave, but there's a lot of people who would probably say Bernie might win that. So
Yeah. It
that
just
that
depends
one's
on what they say, like
right.
how you. Yeah.
So that one's kind of the most toss up. I'd swing Dave my personal way, but I
Mhm.
know a lot of people who are some real diehard Bernie fans who think he's one of the absolute top greatest, which of course he is, you know. But then you got so let's say take A out, right? Hypothetically, let's say it's a wash, which it may not be, but just for the sake of this argument, let's say A is a let's say the number 1 option is a wash. Then for 2, you got a point for team B. For
Mhm.
3, you got a point for team A. Then it's going to come down to that last matchup, okay? So who are you taking between DL and Chris?
I probably have to say, in all honesty, not even just for the sake of an argument, for me to win the argument, I would say DL.
Okay then. So you got two out of 3 points for team A. I mean, sorry, yeah, for team A. You got 1 point for team B, and then you got the marquee Bernie versus Dave. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, for me personally, like you said, if I wanted to win the argument, I'd give it to Bernie. But for the sake of my own comedy taste, I'd give that point to Dave, which hypothetically would be 2 points versus 2 points. Now, somebody else might pick Bernie, in which
Yeah.
case that's 3 points leading to team A. So you can kind of see, you know, team A, you might have to give a 51-49 to I'm just saying. So even if you
Yeah.
just broke it down by matchups, that's what I was talking about from
See,
a
it's not
consistency
fair.
standpoint.
See, it's not fair because he's stronger in math than me. So he just did all of this, and I'm like,
Nigga, it's 4. It's 4
hey, listen, I've
people.
been out of school a long time.
One, two, three, 4. You gotta be good at math. What
I'm up here like, oh man, I don't know what to do with all these fingers.
you must have got straight D's. Man, we can't go to 4.
C minus. C minus. I was above the line. C minus.
How you gonna get a C minus? Anything past 4 is a game changer for you. Oh wait, the 7? Oh no, I don't know that. What,
what,
what comes
what,
next?
what is a 6? How we get here? We were just at 4.
When we start putting numbers in math, why is the letters and numbers? Now y'all got punctuation marks in here too. I can't
I say, where does percent sign come from? What is that doing in here? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
What is this little Spanish tilde y'all got going over this this number right here? It's like, ma'am, that's an equivalent sign.
You got semicolons and shit. Y'all bugging, bro. This is too much. No, but you tied that up right. Yeah, but both groups are definitely very strong in their own way. But I thought this topic would be dope because it's like it makes you really think like, man, if you had to pick, like who would you pick? Because that would be an awesome like if in the perfect world Bernie Mac was still alive, which I wish he was, especially now because he probably would be dropping fire right now for us, especially
Right.
2020, especially with Trump in office. Oh my gosh. I
If
would
was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
right. I would love to hear Bernie Mac's opinion of Trump, but if they had both gone on tour, I would go to both shows.
Oh,
Like if they
easily.
like
What?
I'm going to both. I'm putting all my little nickels together. I'm going to both. But I thought it would be cool to talk about it because Both groups are heavy hitters. Both groups have legends in them. Both groups are
Oh, everybody, listen, all 8 people between these two groups are legends in their own
right.
right. So
Yeah.
I'm not. We have personal opinions about who's funny versus who's not. But in terms of comedy legends, all of them have done enough to be considered at the legend status. They've all paved the way for people.
Mhm.
They're all super accomplished in their field. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are now. I mean, if you give me one comedian that I can listen to the rest of my life, watch for the rest of my life, it's going for
Dave.
my man
Same.
Dave right here. But we're
Yeah.
talking about groups. The strength of Group A to me just outweighs B just by a little bit.
Yeah.
Now I have heard people give a critique about Bernie in terms of they he and there's some truth to it. He didn't really have a whole lot of stand up to go off of. He didn't really do a
He
lot of
didn't have
stand up
his. I don't think he
specials.
had his own
He might
special.
have. I don't know if he had one or not,
I
but
don't think he did.
he was a regular guest star on like Def Comedy Jam, and
Mhm.
I think he might have did Comic View as well, and obviously he did the Kings of Comedy tour, which he
Right.
lit it up. Obviously he was hilarious. He had the Bernie Mac show, which is hilarious. He had movie
Mhm.
cameos. He was in like Charlie's Angels and stuff, which is
Mr.
hilarious. He,
3000, he was
he
the
was in
star.
Life. Mr.
Mhm.
3000. He was hilarious in Head of State with Chris Rock.
I've never
Um,
seen Head of State.
oh my gosh, he was
I
the funniest
know.
part about that
I
whole
need to
movie.
watch it. Yeah.
That's another decent movie Chris Rock had done, but I feel like Bernie was funnier. There's a scene when he comes out of, I believe it's a train. It comes out like a subway or whatever, and literally just like knocks somebody cold
Oh,
clean the hell
that's
out.
when he's slapping people and they talking to him, and he just like he
Boom.
slapped the lady too.
Yep, hilarious. Um, so yeah, but when you think about it, yeah, he doesn't really have the specials like the Eddie Murphy,
Mhm.
like the Dave Chappelle, even like the Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? They all have multiple specials that they've come out with and put out there.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, Bernie didn't really have that, but when he did step up to the plate, when he was given an opportunity to shine, he knocked it out the
Always.
park every time. He was hilarious.
Mhm. No
So,
matter how small or big his part was in something, he was like he took the moment. Even Friday, like he had what 10 lines.
oh yeah, he was hilarious as the preacher.
Hilarious.
What?
Yes. Everybody remembers that scene.
And he did a scene in Charlie's Angels. He played Bosworth,
Mhm.
where
Bosley.
Bosley, yeah, thank you, Bosley.
Mhm.
And he stepped up, like they were sneaking into this facility, and there was like guards that stopped him, whatever. And he called himself. He said, "I'm the Black Irish. Who do you think invented the Lucky Charms, the Shamrock Shake? That was us." Like just little stuff. Like he had the tiniest little lines in that scene, and he just
Uh-huh.
made it his own. It was hilarious.
And don't forget
So,
Players Club too. I forgot
oh my
momentarily. Dollar
gosh.
bills, bucket naked.
Listen. As a grown man, when I think of Players Club, I immediately just think of Lisa Ray. Everything else was kind of blocked out, but
Of
but
course.
he was hilarious in that movie too. So come on. I mean, you can't go wrong with either decision, except if you pick Nikki's choice. But you know, either way,
Clutch in the nose.
both of them are just stacked with legends. So, but make sure you comment below. Tell us
Yeah.
who you think is who's your MVP.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite comedian? Tell
Mhm.
us what group and
Yeah.
why. You know what I'm saying? We want to hear it. We want to hear it. Please talk to us. We love talking with y'all. We love interacting with y'all. So
And follow us on Instagram, y'all. I
follow us
be
on
I
Instagram
be
at Good
posting
and Terrible
memes for
Show.
y'all and everything.
At Good and Terrible Show. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out. That is Mick_Sugar with two
Yep.
G's.
Yep.
This is, I am the effing truth, THAEFFINTRUTH. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Make sure to follow us and subscribe to us here on YouTube. Comment, interact with us. We're cool people. Bring us onto your show if you want. If you got a
Yeah.
podcast, bring us on. Why
We'll
not?
slide through.
We
We'll
slide
bring we'll bring Capri Suns and chicken.
Doritos. Mickey ain't got no Capri Suns yet because she don't have no kid. But when she has a kid, guarantee that
I
fridge
got
gonna be
nieces,
stacked.
nigga. I can slide. I got the
Oh
snack.
yeah, that's right.
Look, I got the snack connect. I got all the new snacks.
You're
It's
not
only
official till I see a Ziploc bag of orange slices in your fridge. That's all I'm saying.
ah, Close out the show, man.
With that said, this has been another episode of the Good and Terrible Show. I am Travis. That is Mickey. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day.